Harry Potter has been a part of my life for well over a decade. And much like you out there, Harry Potter feels personal. It doesn't feel like the worldwide phenomenon that it is. It feels written for you. My story with Harry Potter is unique, because I didn't go to every book launch at midnight and sit with a tea in my hand and stayed up all night reading. And honestly, I didn't even like reading growing up. In fact, I was pretty much forced to read Philosopher's Stone. I was never the strongest reader, and my mother kept time and time again trying to get me to pick up a book and just read. So she tried like hell to find something that I was interested in. I started many, but never finished any of the Goosebumps books. I read the first couple of Captain Underpants, but it wasn't until my best friend, who was reading Harry Potter at the time, suggested it. That's the first time I read a full-length novel for pleasure, and I enjoyed it. I'm sure you've heard this before, but for me, it wasn't a life-changing moment that made me fall in love with reading instantly. Generally, I read it, and then I really didn't put a second thought to it. I enjoyed it, I enjoyed the world, I enjoyed the characters and the mystery, but when I put down that book, I didn't really think about it. I ended up reading the second book casually after it came out, well after its initial release, and before I started the third, something happened.
Did you ever make anything happen? Anything you couldn't explain? You're a wizard, Harry.
I'm a what?
Yes, I know, an unpopular opinion, but the movies turned me into a Potterhead, not the other way around. Before you go on judging me, I've always been an extremely visual person, and movies have always been the passion in my life. My best friend and I saw the movie the moment it came out, at the tender age of 11, the same as Harry, and I just lit up. The feeling of wonder in the fully realized wizarding world that Christopher Columbus brought to screen affected me in a way that the book did not. I'm not sure if I was just the right age to see Sorcerer's Stone on screen, or I may have just been a little bit too young when I picked up the first book, but that November, what everyone was talking about with Harry Potter just started to make sense. I came home and I couldn't stop talking about the film. I recommended it to everyone. I told my older brother, who was a movie buff, told him it was the best movie I'd seen in forever, and I grabbed my copy of Chamber of Secrets in my closet and started to reread it. And what I did next was unexpected for my personality. Rather than going out and getting every Harry Potter book like I wanted to, I waited. I waited for the next film. Although it was hard to wait because I wanted to see exactly what happened to Harry, I had such a transformative moment with the movie that I wanted to see what happened on screen first before I came back to the books. I enjoyed Chamber of Secrets. It's still my least favorite Harry Potter film, but much like everyone, as I got older, I found more of what I was interested in. That summer I watched more films than I ever had before, and I became interested in the likes of David Fincher, Quentin Tarantino, Sam Mendes. And then Prisoner of Azkaban came out, and it couldn't have came out at a perfect time again. The dark, gritty realism of Harry Potter, and it showed that Harry Potter is not only a great story, but they can be great films. The style and the mood of the film was comparable to everything I was watching at home and loving. It wasn't a fun and happy world in which I could escape to, but a world with issues and problems and clear directing decisions made by Alfonso Cuarón. In my opinion, he pushed that series, that book series that had been known for just those books, into a cinematic experience. And although the first two movies had their own merits, now these were turning into films. And because of that, Harry Potter and the movies turned into an event for me. It went from watching the films in theaters with my best friends to sometimes a week-long event. My family, mainly my siblings, ended up building up a tradition. The days leading up to the release of the next Harry Potter film, we would marathon the previous ones. That means every single night, we would gather on those couches, all four of us, and we watch Harry Potter. We would watch every single film that was available to us on DVD at that time, up until the release on that Friday, and then again I would go see it with my best friend. This continued year after year, till the point where that marathon almost lasted a full week. It was at the point of Half-Blood Prince or Deathly Hallows Part 1 that I realized the girl I was dating at the time had never seen or read Harry Potter at any point in her life. So she joined the marathon, and she fell in love with the series in the same way I did. And when it came to the last film in the series, my family and my girlfriend watched with a pit in our stomachs. The tradition and the annual event was coming to an end. The characters and world we had come to love, well, we had to say goodbye to. Girlfriend and I drove well over an hour to the biggest screen we could find, and we watched Deathly Hallows Part 2, and it was over. The movies came to a close. Luckily, my experience with Harry Potter wasn't over. My girlfriend and I went out and bought the books the very next day and got to experience the story again in a different light. We saw new characters in a different version in more detail, and we ate up every bit of it. And when it was all said and done, and the tears were welling up in my eyes as I read the last pages of Deathly Hallows, what did my girlfriend and I do but marathon the movies? We cuddled up, experienced them one more time with the warmth we felt from those pages, and we said goodbye to Harry. In my eyes, those were the best times of my life, watching Harry Potter rather than reading it. Sure, that might lose me some credit in your eyes, but the thing about movies rather than books is it's a shared experience. I sat down in a room with my family, friends, and girlfriend, and Harry Potter became an experience that bonded us, and as siblings moved out and drifted away, and the girlfriend became my wife, we always remember those experiences, those marathons, the buildup of the release to the new one. I smile every time I hear the soundtrack or watch those films or even see them when glancing on TV, because it brings me right back to those marathons, to that best friend, to that girlfriend, to my family, and to some of the happiest times in my life. So what's your Harry Potter story? I'd love to see the influence he had on your life as well. Let me know in the comments below. As always, thank you so much to my patrons, Adam Gray, Jeremy Jacobs, Jenny Edwards, Jeremy Robson, Gabe Marchanda, Trevor Cowan, Gunnar Legland, Colleen West, Gerard Goodleafa, Ested Hemzaj, Marco Perry, Roland, Aiden McShane, Shalon Hudson, Kieran Hunt, Jonas Konanen, and Brandon Warner. Thank you so much for your support, guys. As always, thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.